Signora is a character that appeared for a short time in the Ark Conquest of Mondstadt and Liyue and won quite a lot of people over, not because of her personality or her role, because of two very big and obvious reasons. And if you are one of those people, you must have been really excited when you found out about her appearing as a weekly boss in Inazuma, because it increased her chances of being playable, as the previous Harbinger who also became a weekly boss is playable. But to your disappointment, Raiden killed her. Yep. And without an explanation or reason. You must have been frustrated about it since she didn't become playable. My friend even crafted the Dragon Spine catalyst for her. And the worst thing was she didn't have a reason to die. And we never got any mentions of her past as a Crimson Witch. In a previous theory video, I mentioned how Inazuma wasn't actually rushed, and all that was set up had good execution except for the Resistance arc. I still wish they could have done a lot more with the Resistance arc so that it didn't feel like a one and done thing, but whatever, I guess. Anyway, back to the point. The other thing was Raiden's past was rushed, and at least now if you have some brain cells, it should become clear that there was no way to fit Raiden's story Act 1 and 2 in the Ark Conquest and have that kind of character development of her without it feeling out of nowhere. For the rest, we got a good conclusion since the entire point of Inazuma was Raiden and the visions, which they executed very well in my opinion, but if you still disagree, I can't really do much, can I? Wait, what? I didn't mention Signora? That's right, Signora's arc wasn't actually rushed. Rather, what if I tell you that her death right now in Inazuma was perfectly executed and why MiHoYo is a fucking genius? Now, look, you may call me a MiHoYo White Knight or I'm a sim for Signora and I'm overdosed on hopium or copium for her, but sadly that's incorrect. I don't like arrogant people, and ever since I saw her in Mondstadt, I didn't like her. I don't like her now either, but I just wanted to make a video right now to clear the misconception about Signora's death being rushed and why Rosaline might return in the future and how the Crimson Witch's legacy will live on for long. I'm Jason and welcome to another theory video, and this time it's about the Crimson Witch. And if you are watching this video, I'm going to assume you already know the basics about her past related to Rosaline and the Crimson Witch, so I'm not going to summarize it since I suck at summarizing stuff. Okay, so first of all, you must be wondering why I say that her death in Tenshukaku was perfectly executed. In order to explain that, imagine a different scenario. What if her past and stuff was actually fully mentioned and her whole arc in the entire story of Genshin Impact was ended when she was slain? The only conditions are her death needs to happen in Tenshukaku during the current Inazuma arc. I'll explain why this condition is necessary later, just bear with me for a bit. So, how do we do it? Suddenly show a flashback to Rosaline for a few seconds and then kill her? No, that would just feel too out of place and rushed since the character was never built up to be a character who we have to be sentimental towards. What if, just for her death, she starts spouting her entire story like those characters that get an entire page of monologue when they're about to have extra emotion? No, it would just be weird for her to talk about irrelevant stuff about Kandria and her past with Mondstadt in Inazuma, where once again she was never the focus of, and we are to consider her a villain and not be sentimental towards. So what am I trying to prove here? It's that no matter what you try to do to include her past in Inazuma, you can't fit her in since she is supposed to be a villain, and if they suddenly out of nowhere showed her past, then it would feel way too rushed and irrelevant to the Inazuma arc, which in my opinion would have been way more rushed than the current rushed story we got. But wait a sec, why does the death has to happen in Tenshukaku during the Inazuma arc? Why can't it not happen later once the story of a nation is actually dedicated to Signora, which builds her to be a less antagonistic character and makes her look more pitiful and helpless? That's the thing, the current Signora had reached the point of no return. Which is why I refer to Rosaline and Signora as two different entities even though they are the same person. The current Signora is not anything like Rosaline. You think this arrogant, selfish, egotistical lady is someone who mutually loved someone and decided to selflessly give up her life and nurse hatred with the gods and monsters and try to destroy them in hopes of revenge. See, Rosaline is gone. The once helpless and selfless person that just wanted her lover to be alive has accepted her cruel fate and doesn't care about others anymore. All she wants now is to follow the Tsaritsa with her plan, but in the process she hurts hundreds and thousands of innocent people due to her selfish desire. I hope you get what I mean. Her old self, Rosaline, is gone. She doesn't care about the people. She doesn't care about hurting someone the way her fate hurt her by taking away her loved one. She is just not the same. There is no redemption for her anymore. No matter what you say or do to her, she will never stop her selfish desire and can never become the person she once was. And I'm not saying she's wrong here. It's just her story is just really great and sad. I just mean that because of all the trauma she has been through, she can never become her old kind-hearted self again. She will forever be this arrogant and selfish lady who once decided to give up her life for revenge for the one person she loved. So what am I trying to say is that no matter what nation she dies in or however long her story continues, she will forever be Signora. Whether it be now or later, she can never go back to her old self. Or I should say she never wants to. So why am I bringing this up? Well, ever since the death, I have been both happy the Signora is gone and really upset that Rosaline never got justice for what she went through. No one knows about her. No one cares about her. No one will ever see a happy Rosaline that existed before she met such unfair tragedies in her life. Or will they? Now here comes the genius of Mihoyo. If they truly wanted to have her as the irredeemable character that will eventually meet a cruel end, they could have simply dragged out her story, slowly telling us about her tragic past, and then just give her release from this life at the end when she finally loses all faith in life and doesn't want to live anymore, ending her arc in the story in a very tragic way. But for one goddamn time, Mihoyo is actually not that ruthless. As I just mentioned, if she was gonna always have this cruel end to her life and her story, they could have just dragged her story till her death, but they didn't. They killed her without any explanation or any kind of build up to her story or her death. Now, yes, I'm not so high to still think that she is somehow alive, but I'm pretty confident that they are going to reveal more info about her and continue her arc, or start her arc from Sumeru. In the story right now, the traveler considers Signora an evil and selfish harbinger, so her death doesn't really affect him. And I'm saying him because I use the Aether, so just bear in mind that if I say him, it's Aether and the traveler, and when I say she or her, I mean the abyss sibling, which is really mean for me at least. Anyway, but because Mihoyo killed her right before Sumeru, which makes it even more sus, especially because she was a scholar or student, I don't know which one, in the academia back when she was Rosaline. Think about this. The traveler is completely unaware right now about Signora and her past. But in Sumeru, he learns of a scholar from 500 years ago that is famous for her research that disappeared after some time during the Cataclysm. We hear about her research still being studied and her being regarded as a very famous historical figure in the Academia's past. And we also find out she was from Mondstadt. The traveler tries to find more info about her because obviously she had connections to Contria or the Cataclysm, and as we know, the traveler is always eager to learn anything about his sister. Soon after, we learn a secret info about her from maybe one of the Harbingers or someone from the underground intel group, which by the way, Diluc gets most of his information from there, which I assume will be revealed sooner or later in the main story. That this researcher turned into a monster known as the Crimson Witch of Flames, who use liquid fire, which by the way has been once again mentioned in the chasm right fucking before Sumeru. Like, how is it not sus? Anyway, we do some more digging into the info and then we are revealed that it was actually Signora. And from what I just said, it actually feels like the same kind of revelation we got for the Hillagers and Black Serpent Knights, who we thought were evil but turned out to be human people from a bygone age. But anyway, after that the traveler inherits the legacy of the Crimson Witch and Rosaline, along with some other people we meet later on in our journey that have suffered from a cruel and unfair end dictated by the heavenly principle, and thus we have a simple goal, which is to stop this cycle of destined fate ordained by the heavenly principle. Her arc in the story is probably going to be a bit longer than what I just described, but hopefully you get the point. And I don't know about you, but this seems like a very solid and possible story to me. Since the traveler's goal at the moment is to see the true nature of this world as quoted by a sibling, learning about the cruelty of this world that is ordained by the heavenly principles will help us strengthen our resolve and make us more hostile towards Celestia and make us go down the path that our sibling wants us to go. And I think Crimson Witch's story can be a very solid start for it. As for whether she will be playable, I can only say this. The theory about her being reincarnated or resurrected in Nathalan is plausible, but it lacks evidence. And besides that, I don't see a reason why she needs to come back in the plot just to annoy us more in our journey, instead of just being evidence of the evil of Celestia, which will motivate us to trust our sister's choices more. So unless they decide to make like a game mode in which you can meet these characters of the past, which by the way is in Honkai Impact, so it's not completely impossible in Genshin 2. I don't think she will be playable. But if they do decide to do this meet the past characters game mode, then aside from Rosaline, also yes, we can only get Rosaline playable, not Signora. I don't see a scenario in which Signora can be playable. But yeah, aside from Signora, we may even get Vanessa, Guizhong, Kitsune Saigure, or any other important lore character from the past as playable. Also, just for some food for thought, whenever I think of Signora, I can't help but compare her to Cocolia. If you know, you know. Both are annoying and arrogant at the beginning, and then they later get some common sense into their brain. And Mihoyo does like to drop parallels, so yeah. Anyway, that's just a food for thought statement. And with that, I conclude this theory. I know it was quite small. I'm sorry, okay? Anyway, always remember this is just theory. Nothing is confirmed until Mihoyo says so. So I may as well turn out to be the biggest clown later on, or maybe I'm the biggest genius in the world. Who knows? After all, only time will tell. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I was able to get my point about her death being the beginning of an arc instead of the end across, and I hope I was able to give you a different perspective to Signora's unforeseen death in Tenshukaku in the Inazuma arc. Anyways, like the video if you enjoyed, sub and hit the bell for more videos, and let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Next videos are going to be chapter 14 of Honkai Impact 3rd, and the theory about the different powers of Teyvat and like the Genshin world. But if Genshin 2.7 comes out, or I'm selected for starter CBT 2, then those will take priority. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you with another video very soon. Bye.